Let's go. We got 30 minutes. Let's go. For the rest of our lives. For the rest of our lives. Let's go.
35. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow.
Bobby wants to throw. He goes down the middle. It is caught. Touchdown.
Going for the corner. He's got it.
Mississippi State, the national champions.
A two-run Jalo shot for Oklahoma.
Scotty Thurman with his third three.
National champion is clad in big orange.
Four-man Alabama rush. Got him. No, they didn't. Oh, my gracious.
South Carolina wins the College World Series.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown! Alabama wins!
Tommy Tanks walks it off.
From the pocket. Launching downfield. Underthrown and intercepted. And Georgia is going to conquer the Crimson Tide.
You're tuned into SEC Sunday Night, part of the Chief Sports Network.
All right, grab a drink and grab a snack. Welcome to SEC Sunday Night here live on the Chief Sports Network. I am Rob Williams. He is Craig McMichael, and we are here with you every Sunday night at 8 p.m. to talk about the greatest conference in all of college athletics. Craig, my man, what's going on? How are we doing tonight? How was your weekend? What's your drinking or snack tonight, friend?
Well, I just finished up a Coca-Cola, but I was kind of worried with that intro. That Devontae Smith touchdown had me real down, but we finished off the right way. Keely Ringo all the way back just for our good friend Courtney McKinney. Hopefully we can recreate that again. I am doing well, my friend. I am doing well. How are you? What is your drink and snack tonight?
I'm doing well as well. I'm drinking the Dr. Zevia tonight. A little Dr. Zevia.
I saw that at the grocery store this week.
Yep. Absolutely.
Send it over to you. By the way, Zevia, if you want, we are always looking for sponsors and would love to have your fine beverage as a presenting sponsor.
Yeah, I mean, Josh who? Come over to SEC Sunday Night. All right. Look, also some Dot Pretzels. We would be fine with those guys as well. I want to remind you that SEC Sunday Night is brought to you proudly every week by Hewitt Damaduras Law, hdlawsc.com. For any personal injuries, insurance disputes, dog bites, you name it, these guys are going to be right there for you. So we want to not only let you know who they are and how to contact them, hdlawsc.com, but also remind you that everything here is a family, and we want relationships. We know that you want relationships with people. We don't want the big corporate feel. We want somebody that we can trust, that we feel like we are at home with, and that would be Brad and Dean at Hewitt Damaduras. And so if you call them, just say Hewitt and whatever that other long Greek name is that we can't pronounce. All right, that's where we're going to go with that. Okay, now, before we get going tonight, we have some great guests coming in. Our friend Daily Joy is here to talk about SEC Pretty. We've also going to have Jonathan Williams coming in just a little bit. We love Day Will. We'll talk about some Bulldogs, some volunteers, some different things going on. A lot of stuff happening up there around Knoxville, so we're going to get into that. But before we do that, let's get into fall camp. How are you feeling? Craig is somebody who is plugged in and just ready to talk football, right?
I am.
When the Nuggets start to fall, we start to get a little taste here, a little taste there, maybe an injury here or there. DJ Lagway.
Oh, no, actually Kurt Napier Jr. Yeah, I think that's his name. Whoever Billy's son today posted a picture of DJ, getting ready to throw the ball. Now, I don't know if this was soft toss or if he was actually throwing the ball, but all I know is Florida fans are stressing out about old DJ.
Yeah, they'll do a good job of masking that one. But across the country, my number one concern is always, and I've said this on multiple platforms, season-ending injuries. They're going to let us know about most of those pretty early on, and it's part of the game. There's nothing we can do about it. I'm not raising we shouldn't have fall practice because of safety concerns. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's just a part of it. Is what it is, right? And we've already got plenty of these in the NFL. As some training camp stuff has started happening, and guys are gonna, you're gonna tear something. You're gonna have injuries. It's just part of it. So keeping a close eye on that for sure. From a South Carolina perspective, Rasul Faison is the big story. This is kind of a story I think that we should just watch in general in terms of the SEC. You have a team that is projected to finish 5th in the league, and also this is a projected starting running back who, by all intents and purposes, is a 1,000-yard back for sure, is what the expectation should be. And you're pairing that with Lenore Sellers, who can get it done through the air and on the ground. And South Carolina is a team that, based on where they're projected to finish in the league, is right on that line of can they punch into the college football playoff or not. You look at the schedule, there's some favorable things about it that kind of set up just in terms of flow and how it works out. There are 4 other quality backs, in my opinion, on the roster. But if you take the guy out who's projected to be the starter, what does that do? How does that affect the locker room? Strangely enough, though, Craig, Rasul Faison has been cleared for practice, but we have no word on his eligibility overall. So there's a limited amount of days that you're allowed to practice while you're under review. He used them up in the spring. So Shane Beamer and company appealed for extra practice days. And the NCAA, although they have not finished processing the original request, has managed to process the appeal and get it through. I think this is a little bit of a situation where we really dog on the NCAA a lot. But this is a situation, I think, where they're actually trying to sort through a whole bunch of paperwork, not just with Faison, but with a ton of guys who, after Diego Pavia, tried to get extra eligibility, whether they actually deserved it or not. And in the case of Faison, I think that there are some documentation issues dating back to Marshall that they're trying to sort through. At least that's what I've been able to gather. But there's still a timetable as to when it's going to get done.
Just let the kid play. If you're going to let him practice, let him play. It's just NCAA is going to continue to NCAA, and that's kind of crazy. I do want to hit real quick on Georgia. Kirby came out and chatted with the media on Thursday. Had an article in Last Word. You can kind of take a look at some of the highlights. Interesting stat from Kirby. 54% of Georgia's roster is what he's going to consider a young guy, first or second year player, maybe a transfer. Right. So, Kirby's like, oh, no, they're all young. They don't know what they're doing. But here's what I do like. The Dogs went back to school this spring and this summer. Kirby and the staff instituted what I love is called Football 101. Basically trying to get all of the basics in for Georgia so that they can get rolling and they can be all hungry and they're going to be fired up. It was all positive. It was all the good stuff coming out of Kirby on Thursday. Hey, we're going to be mean. We're going to be aggressive. These young guys, sometimes they're fun to coach. They don't know. They go hard. Listen, let's just kick against Marshall and Charlotte. Let's just see what happens. That's what I'm fired up for.
Do you think that as much as we've joked about this, do you think that Marshall and Charlotte being the beginning of the season here for Georgia, do you think that's helpful or hurtful for them, considering how much Kirby has talked about the, lack of fire in the bellies of some of his players? I get it. He's flipped it to be positive, but let's be honest. We've heard it enough to know what he thinks, that there needs to be a little extra motivation. Would it motivate those guys more if they were coming out against a big opponent Clemson? Against Clemson? That's really what I was going to say. If you have the matchup with Clemson instead of LSU, does that fire them up and get them ready to go, or they take it more seriously? I don't know.
I would hope so. Marshall's basically an FCS team. I mean, why am I blanking on the head coach? He just left. He went to Southern Miss.
Yeah, and he
took everybody with him. Right, Marshall.
They ended up pulling out of they pulled out of their bowl game.
Yeah,
it's just
Charlotte was
not a good look.
Yeah, so you got two programs where those games should be over at halftime, even with the backups. Glass half full. Craig says, "Oh, those are great opportunities. They get everyone a chance to play. They get some stuff." But here's the deal: you got to go to Knoxville week 3. we're going to talk about Knoxville with Dr. J in just a little bit. There's some challenges there, but guess what? Tennessee can do some things very well. Georgia's had success, especially defensively against Tennessee.
Yeah.
But that's going to be that first test for the offense, and I think that's going to be the biggest key. Is where's Georgia offense going to be? The special teams are going to be electric. We're going to have a little article put out there this week. I had my man, Mr. Williams, talk to me and say, hey, I need to know about these special Georgia players.
Dude, Georgia swept the All-SEC special teams. Punters, kickers, holders, returners on both teams is all Bulldogs.
How do you evaluate a holder?
I don't know.
Laces out. Laces out.
Let's ask Shane Beamer. Yeah. He's doing that right now. He's doing that right now. South Carolina is replacing every single specialist. Snapper, holder, kicker, punter, returners, the whole deal. Hey, I want to remind you guys that if you are watching right now on X or on YouTube, then we want to hear from you. Get active over there in the chat box. We will see what you have to say. If it's good enough, it might even make it to the screen. Not good enough to make it to the screen is a comment from unknown listener Trip Cohen, who says we should fire intern Lucas. We're taking shots at intern Lucas, and it's not even 10 after. We just got started. I love his tea, by the way. Trip says over there the tea burned his mouth, but you know what? It is the tea that gets my vocal cords ready for moments like this. When we talk about quarterbacks in the SEC, does the SEC have better quarterbacks than the rest of the country? Let's start with that question.
I would think so. I think you look at it. You look at all the ratings. Who's at the top of the list? Nuss, Sellers,
Arch.
Who's that kid from Texas? Oh yeah, Arch. Yeah, I know him. Yeah,
Lagway.
Lagway's up there. The kid from Arkansas is up there. So, to me, I think outside of no, and listen. I know Brad was big on Pavia last week, and he was.
I think he's a great college football player. Forget about the Heisman and forget about draft boards. Let's look at who is great in the. Let's look who is great in the college game. Diego Pavia is really good in this game.
He does. He's great. He's good. But I mean, to me, it's the big three. I think I think if you had to place a bet, if we're going to call cut the over under on SEC quarterbacks in New York for the Heisman, I would put the over under at 2.5. I think they're going to lock out at least 3 of those 4 or 5 spots.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, Lucas Joy in here. Let's get going with the TriFit Performance guest line. I'll remind you that each week guests are brought to you by TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance in Lexington. Mitch is the physical therapist there, and he knows what he's doing. Again, we're all about relationships, and we know that he's going to build a strong relationship with you and give you personalized care. If you go in for your knee, you want to talk about your shoulder, there's no insurance red tape. You can just flip over and talk about something else. You can talk about nutrition, your diet. He can give you hands-on therapy, or he can just teach you what to do when you're going home. They had a client drive over 100 miles to be treated by Mitch, and he said it was worth every mile. So go to trifitperformance.com and book an appointment with those guys today. Joy, welcome to the show. You're looking at SEC pretty. We're excited to have you tonight.
Favorite Georgia fan right here.
Yeah, never reading the allegations ever.
Well, all right, I do have a bonus. I know that it's a new hat color combination that you're releasing, but I'm a little like I've made the announcement that we're not bringing anything red to the party, and here we are.
I was told like multiple things. Here's the deal, though. Like, this is the best part about this is that I can really bring them all to the party because they're all with me at all at any given moment in time.
Absolutely,
so
that's what we should do. You know, let's just keep it neutral today. Craig is look. I have nothing behind me. I brought no guns to shoot at any fan base.
Oh, I've just got a flag behind me. That's it. It's just a flag. It just like when I promoted this tweet this morning. I know that Joy is a big LSU fan. I had to make sure I had a Georgia and LSU connection in there. So I was just doing that. It was just out of love. There was no poking. There was none of that at all.
Okay.
I even put a regard for on Baton Rouge. Come on.
All right. Let me grab the steering wheel back here for just a moment before we get completely off the road. All right. Look. So let's start with SEC pretty before we talk ball, because that's the real reason that you're here. And we want to make sure everybody knows what they need to do before the season starts. Right. We need to get orders in now so that you can get hats ready, so that they can get out to people. Football is right around the corner. We can smell it. We can taste it. Everybody is ready. but you need that signature piece to put with your outfit to go tailgate, to go to your party, to go to the game, whatever your plans are. When we get to Labor Day weekend, all bets are off, and it's time. We got 5 days of ball, so we need to be ready. We need to be decked out. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. All right, so talk to us about what inspired SEC Pretty for you. How did we get from months ago or however long ago when it pops to your head to where we are today when we see you taking off?
Yeah, so probably about 6 or 7 months ago, I saw a silly little TikTok of a girl, and she was in LA, and she was like, everyone wants to be LA pretty and New York pretty. And she was like, I want to be SEC pretty. Like, have you seen the girls that come out of the Southeastern Conference? Like, they put New Yorkers and LA girls to shame. And like, she went through and named like not even top tier SEC schools, like not even the ones that you really think breed the pretty girls, like just the ones that you're like, pretty girls do go there, like kind of questioning. And so I saw it, and I like kind of always had that in the back of my head, like that's a really good thought. I'm gonna keep that. So I kept it in the back of my head for a little while, discussed it with a couple friends, was just kind of like brainstorming. So I actually made a hat, or had one made for myself, just like on a rare day where I had irrational confidence. I ordered this hat. And have had it in my closet probably since like February, March maybe. And I wore it to the College World Series, and the amount of people – I actually wore it to Hoover, to the SEC tournament, and got stopped a ton. And people were like taking pictures of it. Where can I buy it? And I'm like, if I don't jump on this soon, someone else is going to do it. Yeah. So I left Hoover and trademarked it immediately, just because I was like, I don't need anyone trying to jump on the trademark. And then I just, again, kept it in my back pocket, went to the Omaha, went to the World Series, wore the hat, got bombarded like by every fan base, because the one I had was neutral. So like if I just walked around throughout the day and I wasn't in LSU gear, like any Arkansas fans were like, where'd you get your hat? And so I just came back. I had a conversation at the championship celebration with a former LSU baseball player, and he was like, Joy, I need that hat. And I was like, okay, you're the last guy. Like, now that I don't know what it was about that conversation that just made me believe that I could do it, but I was like, okay. So I went home. I ordered 12 hats. They sold out in like less than a day. And I was like, I think I'm on to something here. So I went to the beach for the 4th, came back, had gotten in touch with like someone local that could embroider them a lot faster for me. And I was like, let's roll out 4 SEC schools slowly. I was like, I just need to do 4 at a time. Like, I'm financing this all on my own. I don't have any help. Like, I'm not trying to get in over my head. What if they fail? Like, what if no one likes them? And I rolled out those 4, and just the LSU sales alone were enough money to give me to finance every other SEC school up front. So I was like, okay, I guess we're just going to full send it at this point. And yeah, I full sent it like probably 2 weeks ago, and it's blowing up ever since. I can't keep some in stock. It's the wildest thing in the entire world just to think that I created a silly little hat, and now it's become everything that it is.
No, but I think that's the beauty of what the SEC is, right? Like, it's that passion, it's that energy. I mean, you wore the hat in Hoover. You went to Omaha. You're getting all this positive plug, and now I see you blown up on social media. So seriously, I know I'm one to poke and one to have a little bit of fun, but I think it's absolutely fantastic. So totally hats off to you and everything that you're doing. Can I ask, like, so obviously I'm going to say LSU is probably number 1. Who are your top sales so far, and why is Georgia like 2 or 3?
LSU's 1. I would say that the natural hat is actually 2. And I think that's probably for a lot of reasons. I think as like girls are always thinking about game day outfits, and I don't care what school you go to, you are somehow going to incorporate black into a game day outfit, like regardless of whether or not it's your school color or not. People don't want to hear that, but it's just the reality of it. And so I think the natural hat goes with so much, and it's an easy hat to throw on when you're not going to a game, like when you're going to the pool or you're going on the boat. Like, it's just the easiest.
Yeah, I wear black and white every day of my life, so it's just easy. Same.
It's my favorite hat. Well, now Vanderbilt is, but it was my favorite hat. But by a landslide. And so yeah, the natural is 2, Georgia is 3.
I like it. See, look
Don't
at
lie
that.
to him, Joy. Don't.
Really is. The problem is like most of my I do have this random following on Twitter that thinks I'm a Georgia fan.
Yep.
So I think
Hey,
I have
play
just
into it, I
enough of
guess.
those- I think I have just enough of those people that they're like, oh, we're buying the Georgia hat. So I think that's just really how it's worked out.
And now you did a second
I'm
Georgia
looking
colorway,
forward to that
so
white
here we
shirt.
are.
Right.
In my defense, there was never supposed to be a second Georgia colorway. The embroiderer ordered a different hat than the original we had discussed, and it was supposed to be for another SEC school, but it's so red that it could not pass for any other SEC school, and we had already paid for them. And so I said, just slap some white letters on it, and it'll be Georgia 2.0. But that was never the intention. I promise.
Dr. Pepper was an accident too, and now they're one of the biggest sponsors of college football. So maybe that's you one day, Joy. We never know.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
What are there any fan bases that were willing to throw under the bus? Say, like, is there anybody that gives you the hardest time?
Yeah,
Bama?
Tennessee fans.
Oh yeah, well,
I mean, which is just on brand for them that like I'm not even slightly shocked. But like I think people think that I just made a hat and that I like didn't do any research. And I'm like, if y'all think I didn't ask fans of that school like what colors they would want or I didn't just. I know because it looks like I've moved so fast that people probably think that I haven't taken any of that into consideration. But the reality is I've talked to people at every single school and every single fan base and asked what they wanted. So it'll be really frustrating because you'll pull out something and then someone's immediately like, I want something else. And that's mainly been Tennessee fans. And I'm like, okay.
What do they want?
The customer service part of the company is not my forte. If you've seen me go back at haters on Twitter, then you know
that's what I give you a shout out for that. Like that's the best way because those people are just ridiculous. They don't need to come after you. You're trying to crush it. So
those people being Tennessee fans.
I will try. I'm not against like criticism, and if you want something else, I'm happy to work to give that to you. But it's like I'm just. There's not even all 16 SEC schools on the website yet. Like, let me get those done. Let me get every school available. And then I'm happy to roll out 2.0 editions. I'm also working on a ton of other stuff that aren't hats for people that don't love to wear hats. So it's like, I promise I'm working behind the scenes. It's just like the constant like, hey, we need this and this and this and this. And I'm like, no, you need to sit down and be quiet.
Right. Can I get one that just says Arch? Because that would probably be my favorite.
Absolutely not.
No. Hey, that's what I was gonna ask. Is if you're willing to talk about ideas, like what else is happening behind the scenes?
As far as like, I think the first part is just like getting as much stuff branded with the SEC Pretty logo as I possibly can, because that ultimately like is the brand. That is what I trademarked like that. And now like it's obviously like anyone can wear it, but I've had a lot of girls be like, I would love a sweatshirt for the fall or a crew neck or like things of that nature. I'm working on like the clear bag straps because girls love to like have a clear bag strap. I mainly did that one for me because I'm going to 14 college football games this season and 12 of those are SEC games. So I'm like, but at the end of the day, like I'm still a Tiger, don't get it twisted. So I'm like, I need a neutral bag strap. So just doing stuff like that. And, just trying to get as many things branded with SEC Pretty, but also like, I'm not going to halfway do anything. That's not my nature. It's not who I am. It's not the way that my family raised me to be. And so like, until the hats are perfect, the hats are going to be all that's on the website. And then once those are perfected, then we can move on. I understand that people want more, but what tends to happen is you give more, but then your quality gets significantly less. And I will always first and foremost pride myself on having a quality product. So that's the main priority right now.
Hey, we love that.
Yep. What's the game you're most looking forward to? So you're on to 14 of them. What are like the top 1 or 2 games you're looking forward to?
Texas, Ohio State has to be probably at the top of the list.
So you're an Arch fan now too. So you got more in common, Joy.
I'm not an Arch fan. I will be a Texas fan for that day, but I'm not an Arch fan.
I think unfortunately we're all going to have to be Texas fans for that day.
Yeah, it's going to suck. I'm not looking forward to it at all. And my cousin goes to Texas. My uncle went to Texas. We have Texas in our blood, but my grandpa's also an Aggie, and y'all know how I treat them. So like, I don't have any loyalty to anyone that went to any school in Texas. But yeah, Texas, Ohio State's probably number 1. I am going home for A&M LSU. So that one obviously is just always a good one. I'm going to Georgia, Tennessee, and I'm going to Alabama, Georgia. So I would say those 4 probably. And then I'm going to Purdue at Notre Dame. And so I'm excited to see that game just from a fan perspective. Notre Dame being Notre Dame, I feel like that's one of the venues you have to go to. I'm going before it's freezing cold, so it won't be a miserable experience. So yeah, those are probably the ones at the top of the list.
Okay, so we know you love to talk ball. Let's squeeze one question in here because I think that this is really where we need to go tonight in terms of it's fall camp, and so we're really looking at things happening on the field. Yep. What happens when we start to play games is that we're going to get into these scenarios where things are going to go maybe a little unexpected for some fan bases and for some coaching staffs and for some rosters, honestly. Which coach has the most pressure in 2025 from your perspective? Because if we're walking into this, there's a lot of expectations across the league, and we know it's the SEC, so nobody's allowed to suck.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think that there's some obvious ones. I'm probably going to go with a non-obvious one, just because why not just have the conversations? I think you could obviously name Sam Pittman, but I don't even know if there's pressure there. I think he just knows it's his last year. He might just be having fun this season.
Yeah.
I think there's still some pressure on Napier, especially with all the talk about Lagway in the offseason. We don't even have to have the discussion about Brian Kelly. There's pressure there. The difference in Brian Kelly and everybody else is that Brian Kelly's not getting fired. So we can say that there's pressure. And there is from a fan base perspective, but in terms of job perspective, there's not. I'm going to go with a one-off that I don't think anyone's thinking about, and that's Shane Beamer. You quite possibly have the best roster you've had in quite some time. You have expectations on your program and specifically on your quarterback that you probably haven't had in the tenure of your time at South Carolina. And if you somehow blow this season with the level of talent that you have on the field, your fan base is going to come for your throat. They've come for they're ready to fire one of the most winningest coaches in college baseball because Paul Mainieri had one bad year. And so their fan base is not a forgiving fan base. They think that they're better than what they are. And they hold their coaches to that standard. So I think he is secretly could get some pressure if he's not careful and doesn't perform to the level that they're expecting him to. And
one quick question: how many hats do you have to sell? How many hats do you have to sell to donate to get Brian Kelly fired?
Oh God, I don't. The limit does not exist. No, it's not enough.
Okay, couple of things, and then we'll throw up one more question. Okay, couple of things. Number one is Craig is a certified Brian Kelly hater, and
Craig and I have that in common.
Picked LSU to win the SEC, and I have a lot of faith. I think they get it done this year. Second thing is, let me lean down so you can see the state on my hat. I think that I agree that there is pressure in Columbia, but
I didn't even know that.
But I have faith in the Lenore Sellers, and the thing that I'll say too is I think this defense is better than what people give them credit for. There are a lot of names that we know, but they haven't shown it because they're younger. And last year there was a ton of experience. Replacing 3 seniors in the interior defensive line is a basically impossible task when you have when you're. But they do have 2 fifth-year guys that are coming in to step into that gap, and then a former 5-star and Brownlow Indy who transferred from Texas A&M. So, can they be as productive on the defensive front? I don't know if that's really feasible, but in the back end, I think they're really strong. You still have Dylan Stewart coming off the edge. The offensive side of the ball doesn't really worry me because Lenore is a Superman, and as long as he stays healthy, and the offensive line is mediocre, just don't be subpar. Then it'll work itself out in that way.
Which is my whole point, Rob. Like you saying
how
good they have it.
No.
I know. If he underperforms, then
no. I get it. That I'm not the only thing that I'll be sensitive to. We'll talk about Mainieri off the air. I'm not going to get into that here. But the only thing that I'll be sensitive to is coming for Shane in terms of I'm going to be the apologist for him no matter what the case is. After they went 5-7 with Rattler and everybody jumped off the bandwagon, I stuck my feet in the ground, and then we turned it around they turned it around the next year. And I think that I had to fight some people off during that time period, but I have a lot of faith in what he's capable of doing, just because I know what the cultures that he's building and the guys believe in him. So that brings it another way. All right, Lucas, throw it up so that we can get this before we get Joy out of here. All right, so we have in the chat box, we have this question about an LSU Clemson game. This game, Joy, is just absolutely destroying me mentally.
I can't think about it. Trent, when I tell you I have not thought about an LSU Clemson prediction, it's because I cannot mentally think about it.
Here's my problem.
To a spiral.
Here's my problem. I think Klubnik wins the Heisman this year because I don't think anybody in the ACC can really slow them down. They're absolutely freaking loaded. They're loaded. And he can just throw the ball. He's a good quarterback, but he's going to be able to throw the ball up to this group of receivers that he's got, because they're finally back to elite pass catchers on the perimeter. However, I also picked LSU to win the SEC. So this game really has no bearing on either one of those things, right? I don't think that this game shuts Clemson down. I think they cakewalk into the playoff, even if LSU comes in and beats them by 3 touchdowns. This doesn't impact LSU's conference run because obviously it's an ACC matchup. What it impacts is the same thing the Texas-Ohio State game impacts: how people are talking about our conference after week 1. Yep. So what do you think, Joy? If you have to lean one way or the other right now, does the streak of lost openers end?
I just have a question. Do you have vertigo from like all your back and forth that you do? I'm just a little curious.
No, absolutely not. I think that these that's what I'm saying. These two teams, I think they're both going to do well. I can talk well. I can speak well about Clemson and still wear the hat.
I got one thing. Klubnik's not winning the Heisman. LSU's winning in the other Death Valley. And 3, Joy, tell us how we can all get an SEC Pretty hat.
Okay. The SEC Pretty hat's easy. SECPretty.com. I've made it as simple as I can because we are not a smart conference. We're good at football, and that's about it. I would say I do lean LSU, and for one reason and one reason only. You have not heard the players nor the staff talk with the level of confidence in an off season the way that they're talking right now. Garrett Nussmeier coming into year 2. If you historically are looking at LSU's program recently, that is the golden ticket to LSU being good in the offensive position. I think they're going to work a whole hell of a lot harder on the run game. I think that Blake Baker in year 2 as a defensive coordinator is phenomenal. Our safeties are looking incredible. I know that there's a video going around of Blake Baker playing like a walk-on and everyone's making fun of LSU defensive backs. And I'm like, no. Like everything that I'm hearing out of fall camp is how dangerously good that this team is. And I won't be big on Clemson until they prove to me that they deserve for me to be big on them again. They have ever since 2019, let's call it what it is. Ever since that national championship, you have not seen Clemson rise to the occasion the way that they have previously. I am impressed with Dabo finally putting his ego aside and saying, I'm going to go to the portal because I realize that if I don't do that in the year of our Lord 2025, I will not compete at the level that is needed to compete to win a national championship. With that being said, I do think it's a talent to go get kids out of the portal, plug them into positions for them to be successful in year 1. We have seen it over and over again. You can go get a kid from the transfer portal, but it usually takes a couple years to really plug them into your system and have them be an immediate difference maker. I'm not sure Dabo has the sauce to do that. And I will always edge on Garrett Nussmeier in year 2 going into, I won't call it that name. I don't really care.
Yeah, honestly, I don't call it that either. Memorial Stadium is fine. Memorial Stadium's fine. We don't need to give them that credit.
Like everyone's arguing about that. And I'm like, can we argue about ball? Like, let's argue about something that matters. I don't really care what they call the stadium. I just want us to win in it. So.
There you have it. SECPretty.com. Make sure you go get your hats today. You don't want to be late. You don't want to be late. What if she sells out of your team? And then we got to restock. It's a whole
already sold out of a couple teams. I'm just saying.
Just go do it today so that you're ready for the season. Joy, thanks so much for coming on. We'll have you back, maybe live from a tailgate in one of these SEC games.
Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
We'll pull you in for sure. We'll see you October 11th. Go Cox. We're going to be right back here on SEC Sunday Night live on the Chief Sports Network. We'll catch you after the break.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawsc.com. hdlawsc.com. Hewitt Diamaduros, we're on your team.
Oh, man, the building is on fire.
Emergencies and accidents happen. When you're in the middle of a fire or water event, all you want is for things to return to normal as soon as possible. Resto Pros of the Midlands is with you, guiding you through the process and working with you to get your home or office back in working order. They'll answer your questions, discuss procedures, and can act as your advocate when it comes to processing your insurance claim. Resto Pros Midlands SC.com. Open 24/7 when you need them. Quality that is guaranteed.
At TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, we believe true health and peak performance start with personalized care. Whether you're an athlete recovering from injury or just chasing your next personal best, we're here to guide your journey. With expert coaching, hands-on therapy, and transparent cash-based pricing, you get the care you need without the insurance red tape. One client drove 100 miles just to see us and said it was worth every mile. Contact us at trifitperformance.com or 803-353-5619. TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, where recovery meets results.
Yo, what's up?
Baby, let's go!
This is SEC Sunday Night, part of the Chief Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to SEC Sunday Night Live on the Chief Sports Network every Sunday night at 8. We are here back on the TriFit Performance guest line. It's not just me and it's not just Craig. Thanks again to Joy for coming in. We got our man here, Jonathan Williams. Jay Will, what's going on?
What's going on with y'all, man? Hey, listen, last time I was with you guys, it was just your typical, we got 3 screens and a podcast going on. We got some video footage, all that stuff. We got graphics now. We got commercials now. We got the whole shebang up in this joint. So I'm super pumped about this one.
Hey, we're trying, buddy. We're trying.
Shout out to Chief.
Yeah, for sure. How you doing, my friend?
What's going on? Are you ready for some football?
Am I ready for some football? Listen, I mean, for a guy that does content creation like you guys during the offseason for college football, I mean, as fans, college football season is great. The excitement builds up throughout the entire year, all that good stuff. But as content creators, there is nothing better than knowing that college football is back, because that means everything that we talk about during the week, on the weekends, whatever, the content is there. All this, like, there is no more off-season talk or whatever it is, man. Like, we have the content. We can talk about games. We talk about legitimate stuff. There's no more speculation.
That's all. So have you been out to practice at all yet in Athens? I know Kirby was chatting a little bit with the media. We talked a little bit early on about that. I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on the Dogs getting going this week.
Yeah, I haven't made it out to practice yet. I know they had first practice availability this past week. I want to say on Thursday. My head man, Brooks Austin, he was there taking care of all that stuff for us. I know he was at practice. But no, I haven't been out to practice, but everything that I've heard out of practice sounds good. I know Kirby said that this is the healthiest that they have been in in fall camp since he's been there. Sounds like all the names that you would want to are flashing right now, hearing a lot of good things out of most position groups. So everything by all accounts right now, it sounds like things are going pretty good for the Dogs.
Yeah. Are you shocked to hear?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I got one more. Are you shocked? Like I'm still hearing Ryan Puglisi talking about, being the quarterback, like having this quarterback competition. Is that just a little fun for fall camp, or do you really think Ryan's really pushing Gunner? I don't see it, but I trust you, my friend. So I kind of want to get your thought.
Yeah, I think it's Gunner's job. I think that, Kirby Smart bringing Gunner Stockton to SEC Media Days, while he didn't actually say Gunner is his starter while he was there, I think that kind of signifies this is Gunner's team. He's our guy. And I thought it was also interesting that at SEC Media Days that Kirby kind of hinted at that Gunner is going to be the starter this season, but that he has to still earn it. So like there's some type of leash there with Gunnar, where in other words, like there is a point in time where they might yank Gunnar out of the game and Puglisi gets put in. I don't know what that is. Like I don't know what Gunnar would have to do to get pulled out of a game, but by all accounts, this is Gunnar Stockton's team. He is going to be the starter this year. And if he continues to play well this year, then he will be the starter for the remainder of the season. But, I mean, Puglisi is certainly in the mix somewhat. I mean, he's a talented guy, but it's Gunnar's team. He's a starter.
So, Gunnar Stockton, I think, is the starter, but who's the star of the team? When we think about the Georgia Bulldogs in 2025, when we look back, whose name's gonna run through our minds? Whose face are we gonna see? Who's gonna be making the play that is just stuck in the back of our minds? I'll let you talk, and then we'll kind of fill in some thoughts there. But is there anybody that jumps off the page to you right now in fall camp?
I think that there's a couple of options offensively speaking. I think that Nate Frazier kind of fits his star role. I think Nate fits it for multiple reasons. I think that he has the personality that the fan base is going to gravitate towards. I think people have already picked up on that. He's on social media all the time. Like people know who Nate Frazier is, so he's that familiar name. But I think obviously he's going to be a starting running back this year for them. He's going to be the main focal point or one of the main focal points of this offense. So he's going to be a familiar name. The wide receiver room, I think that there's some options. I just don't know if I can really circle in on one person because they brought in multiple bodies this offseason. You're getting some guys back like Colby Young, who really didn't play all that much last year. But the three guys that I would mention there are Zachariah Branch for starters, the USC transfer. It sounds like he's going to be a big part of this offense. And then the two X receivers. And this is one of the reasons why I can't really narrow it down. It's Noah Thomas and Colby Young. They're both the X receivers at Georgia right now, two big body guys. I've been hearing phenomenal things about Noah Thomas so far, but either one of those guys I could see having a huge season for Georgia, and maybe they both do. Maybe Georgia kind of morphs into this offense where they got both of them on the field. I just don't know what they're going to do, but those names are the ones that are really circling on. But I think that Nate Frazier's like the for sure thing. Like that guy's going to be a star in this offense.
I'm excited to see what Dylan Bell does. I always feel like he's got like that X factor. He can play a little running back. He can go receiver. Like to me, like he seems like that guy who can just and Bobo can do some good things. Like, listen, I'm going to say something positive about Bobo. Rob always yells at me because I'm always very hard on Bobo. But to me, like Bell is that guy that I feel like can be the X factor, and especially now with that other talent that we have now at wide receiver with Frazier in the backfield. I'm really kind of excited to see kind of what we get out of him with year 3 because I feel like we've gotten flashes, but nothing consistent.
And I think that excitement is completely warranted because I've seen some people say some pretty harsh things about Dylan Bell this offseason, and I get it. Like he had some massive drops last year, but who in the wide receiver room didn't have some massive drops last year? I mean, it just kind of felt like the unit collectively just wasn't on their A game last year, and Dylan Bell was included in that mix. But Dylan Bell got put in a really tough spot last year because, as I mentioned, Colby Young didn't get to play the entire season last year because he got into some trouble, and there was no big-bodied wide receiver on that roster. There was no true X receiver that Georgia could go to, and so Dylan Bell was the next guy up, and he got plugged there, and that's not what he needs to be. Dylan Bell is the guy that, hey, we can play him at X, we can play him at Y, or we can play him at Z, we can put him in the slot, we can do all these things, we can even put him in the backfield. But as soon as Georgia didn't have an X that they could lean on last year, Dylan Bell had to stay there because that's just all they had. That's the only person they could plug into there. So this year, I think you'll see Bobo move him around a lot and really get that X factor part of him, that Swiss Army knife style play style that we've seen from Dylan Bell, like we saw in 2023.
Love it.
Yeah, I think, I've been on the record a couple times saying I think Nate Frazier ends up top 3 backs in the country. Bobo's going to give him the ball. I think he's talented enough that there's a potential if Georgia has the year that the fans in Athens would want them to have, that he leads the league in rushing. But we won't. I'll pull back on those reins a little bit and say that I think he has the potential to do that, but we'll see if he actually gets it done. So what are the concerns? Let's flip this thing on its head. We got a lot of good things to say, but what are the things we need to watch out for in terms of the Dogs?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the first thing that jumps off the page for people is the offensive line. You replace a good number of starters. But I think that while we say that, I think that Georgia at least feels good about who they have because while they are putting in new starters, there's still some familiar names like Monroe Freeling and Ernest Green are both returning this year. I don't care what you think about Ernest Green or Monroe Freeling. Those are 2 returning starters for you this year. You got to look at Drew Bobo last year, who's going to be the starting center. He filled in for Jared Wilson when he was banged up a little bit. Micah Morris has been constantly rotated in throughout games during his career. He's going to be a starter. And then you get to choose from the likes of Michael Unai or Daniel Calhoun or Juan Gaston, the true freshman. I think Juan Gaston is going to force the coaching staff to play him this year. So I think they are comfortable where they're at. I would flip to the defensive side of the ball and start with one nose tackle, because Xavier McLeod, who is a transfer from South Carolina, he transferred in last year, got a little bit of playing time, was also banged up a little bit. He's going to be the starting nose tackle this year. The depth is thin there, though. They're still trying to figure out, like, who do we have behind him? I think Nnamdi Ogboko is a solid answer to that. But we got to fill some people out there, because Kristen Miller, well, I think he could play nose tackle. I don't want him at nose tackle. I want Kristen Miller at defensive tackle. Jordan Hall is not big enough to play nose tackle. So I think you got to figure out some things there interior defensively. I think there's a little bit of questions, just kind of figuring out, like, who do we actually trust to play here? But I think that the guys that you have up top are going to be fine. And then going to the secondary, it's all about finding out who's going to play next to KJ Bolden, because KJ Bolden is a star. He's one of these up and coming Georgia defensive studs that's going to play in the NFL, going to play on Sundays, all that great stuff. But is it going to be Ja'Cory Thomas, who's been there for 5 years? Is he just going to lock it down? Or is it going to be one of these 4 transfers that they brought in? What it indicates to me is I think Zion Branch is the one that's really on his heels, and I think that there's an opportunity where Zion Branch may not start the year, because Kirby has a thing where he keeps the veteran guy and he lets him stay in that starting role. But I think by game 4 of the season, I would not be shocked if it's Zion Branch and KJ Bolden back there. But those are like the 2 big questions on defense that I would really be circling, paying attention to.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So go ahead, Craig. Got any more black and red to talk about? Because I'm itching to turn this conversation.
Well, I just had one. You know who'd look really good next to KJ Bolden?
Who's that?
Caleb Downs.
Oh, yeah. But what could have been? What could have been?
Seriously. What happened?
Okay. All right. We'll get you a tissue so you can cry about it later.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Get us 2. I want Jonathan to have one, too.
All right. Let's look at Knoxville for just a minute, okay? Because I think that there's a lot of questions when it comes to Tennessee. Obviously, you lose Nico. We can talk that story to death. It is what it is at this point. Boo Carter is now there. Josh Heupel said it this week that he's still got a couple things to do to be able to be active, but he is on the team. He's present. All that thing is there. So, Craig would phrase this as a rocky start to 2025 on Rocky Top, right?
Probably have something like that coming out this week.
Yeah, look out for it. Look out for it, everybody. Enter Joey Aguilar. Athletic, can move around. I think that Heupel needs that. My question is, when the SEC defensive fronts or really front sevens get this pass rush going, how is Aguilar going to respond to that? Is he going to be able to stand in and make the throws that he needs to throw? Can he be accurate with the football? All that's a question mark for me. When you look at just kind of overall dissect that program as we head into 2025, what's the biggest thing that jumps off the page to you? Positive, negative? If we were doing just a temp check on them, where do you feel like they land? Because I feel like there's really mixed reviews across the country right now.
Yeah, I'm super skeptical of what this season is going to look like for Tennessee, because I could see it going multiple ways. I could see them being 9-3, 8-4 this year, just kind of turning into like a pretty good year, like all things considered what has happened. I think if you turned into 9-3 and 8-4, I think people would be pretty happy up in Knoxville. I could also see this thing going south, because I have some major questions about what is happening with this team and what has happened with this team. I mean, you talked about one of them, Nico. He enters a transfer portal. He goes to UCLA over hostile negotiations, or whether it's because the roster wasn't talented enough. Whatever storyline you want to believe there, your starting quarterback left your roster at the end of spring camp. This wasn't even in January. This was at the end of spring camp. So you have that. Mike Matthews, who's supposed to be a starting wide receiver for them, he was flirting with the transfer portal earlier this year. Boo Carter was flirting with the transfer portal this year. And then on top of that, you want to bring in Boo Carter missing team meetings and all this other stuff that happened over the last couple of weeks, to the point where Josh Heupel has to provide a statement on the first day of fall camp and talk about how Boo Carter's still with the team, but he has to earn his right back onto the field, and he has to check all these boxes. I don't know what is happening up in Tennessee, But I know that Josh Heupel tried to do the right thing. I thought Josh Heupel was portraying the right message when they said, Nico, you can take your crap and you can take it with you to UCLA because we're not doing this. That's not the culture here. We care about the T. We care about the volunteers, all that good stuff. But when I hear stuff like Boo Carter, all this weird information, like you don't know what to believe or whatever, but at the bottom line, he's having to earn his way back onto the field because he's missing team meetings, a guy that's supposed to be a star defensive player for you. I don't know if there's going to be unity for this team. And that's why I see it potentially going south. Like if we get into week 6 and Tennessee is 2-4 or 3-3, whatever you want to call it, like they're on track to lose more games than they would like to have. Is this team going to stay together or is it just going to fall apart? Because what I see from the outside as an outsider is a bunch of people that's thinking about themselves. I don't know if there is this team chemistry or this bond here together. It seems like there's a lot of people that don't know what to do and don't know if they're fully bought into this program. So I'm very skeptical about what's happening at Tennessee.
So listen to this. You talk about Mike Matthews in the roster. Report today from Adam Sparks from Knox News. I'll just read it to you. Mike Matthews is at practice, but not going through wide receiver drills. Chris Bradswell still limited due to injury. You can literally count Tennessee's healthy scholarship receivers 5 on one hand, and 4 of those 5 have never played a college snap. Is this Oklahoma from 2024? Who is catching the football?
I don't know.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
Especially because what they like to do offensively, right? Like you need a couple of receivers.
I think they're going to be able to run the ball because the offensive line, I think, is a strength for them. But, oh, my goodness, let them have an injury or something go wrong up front, and this really does get off the tracks fast because we don't know who's going to be under center, really. I mean, I guess it's going to be Joey Aguilar, but what's he going to bring and how tight's the leash there? How quickly do you pull it and you go to one of these younger guys? But it's just like Jackson Arnold last year. I don't think Jackson Arnold was as bad as what he was portrayed to be, but he gets the axe and you put Hawkins in the game and the whole thing back and forth because there's nobody. At least you should have protection up front at Tennessee, so it's not going to be fully as bad as what it was there. But if they don't get this wide receiving core healthy, or some of these younger guys don't step up, I don't see this offense being able to get off the ground very much.
Is there a bright spot there in Tennessee? Like is there anything that
recruiting?
Fans, right. I'm just talking.
They're on heater.
We're talking on the field. Right?
They're on a heater. I mean, recruiting. That's where I would go.
That's the other thing about Tennessee. Like, I know I just rattled off a bunch of things that have been happening off the field for this program, but when I look on the field, I don't see a whole lot that really piques my interest. Now, I think that they have some really solid defensive players on their roster. You know, everybody's high on Jermon McCoy, but he's going to be missing games this year. You know, he suffered a knee injury in January, tore his ACL. So who knows when he's going to be fully healthy. Boo Carter is going to be a big player for them. Anthony Joseph's the edge rusher. He's going to be a big player for them. But I look offensively, like the somewhat bread and butter of this Tennessee program since Josh Heupel got there. I mean, quarterback is still kind of up in the air. I like Peyton Lewis. I like Deshaun Bishop, but I think that there's still some room to grow for those guys. I think you saw that last year when Dylan Sampson was banged up, especially in the playoff game when they had to rely on those 2 guys. You know, I don't know what that looks like for them. And then the wide receiver room, I mean, that is just a hodgepodge mess right now because it'd be one thing if Mike Matthews, as a true freshman last year, as a former 5-star, came in and he gave you like 20 receptions for 280 yards or 300 yards or something along those lines. At least got a good amount of burn. But Mike Matthews is coming into this year very inexperienced, didn't get a whole lot of playing time last year. And now you're talking about him missing practice and a bunch of other wide receivers missing practice. Like, I just don't know if there's a whole lot for me to really buy into for this Tennessee program. But what I can buy into is Josh Heupel, because I think that Josh Heupel is a really good football coach. He seems to adapt in ways that puts his program in the best position to win. Because last year, I mean, they ran the ball to death, and that's how they found a way to win games. It wasn't because Nico was slinging it for 300 yards every single game. It's because they had a really successful run game. So if Bishop and Peyton Lewis are that answer for them this year, I think they'll be fine. But I just don't really know too much about this offense because I think there's a few too many questions for me.
I feel like you were talking about, at the start of our conversation as content creators, like we can't wait for football to get going. You got to feel like Heupel's the same way. Because,
for sure.
I mean, if we're having this conversation first week of December, Tennessee's like on the rise, right? I mean, they made the playoff, they're going, then they get blown out in Columbus, they're losing, and then you have this player turmoil. And it's like, it can make sense. And Heupel has done a good job outside of playing Georgia. Heupel has done a good job. He's 500 against Alabama. I mean, that's saying something. They haven't had anybody like that in a long time. And I do feel like he's got an athletic director, one that handpicked him, and that's going to give him a chance. But here's the deal: we all know it. You've got to be in that 7, 8, or 9 win season if you're Tennessee, because anything less than that, you're going to get a lot of people on the phone not real happy.
Hey, Jonathan, you get to hang out for just one more second?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Lucas, let's go ahead and catch a break right here on SEC Sunday Night. We have Jonathan Williams here with some Bulldogs on SI, and we're gonna finish up here with the last word. We'll keep Jonathan on with us, and we're going to talk about the strength of schedule here in the SEC. So we'll be right back here on the Chief Sports Network after this quick break.
At TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, we believe true health and peak performance start with personalized care. Whether you're an athlete recovering from injury or just chasing your next personal best, we're here to guide your journey. With expert coaching, hands-on therapy, and transparent cash-based pricing, you get the care you need without the insurance red tape. One client drove 100 miles just to see us and said it was worth every mile. Contact us at trifitperformance.com or 803-353-5619. TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, where recovery meets results.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawse.com. hdlawse.com. Hewitt Diamaduros, we're on your team. This is SEC Sunday night
All right,
on the
we're
Chief
back here.
Sports Network.
All right, back live on the Chief Sports Network. Intern Lucas is too busy answering DMs about how the tea that he made for our chat boxers over here burned his mouth. So I thought the bumper was over, but it apparently was not. All right, quick question on Tennessee. We've got College Football Forever and Chief YouTube's both over here with the question of who's going to have the breakout season for Tennessee. For either of you, do you see anybody on the roster that we're not talking about that we should be?
I feel like that their roster gets covered pretty well. Again, like if I had to pick somebody that's going to really break out, I'd pick one of the two running backs because I don't think it's going to be both of them having a breakout year because Tennessee has never gone about being like a rotation running back by commodity type of team. It's always been find our guy, and that's who we're going to give the most totes to. So whoever wins that kind of battle between Deshaun Bishop and Peyton Lewis, that's who I'm going to give it to because I think that's how they're going to have to win football games this year. I think that's where their success is going to be. It's going to be running the football. So those were the two names I would really kind of highlight right now.
I agree with you. I do think with the receiving core being a little bit wide open as it stands right now, I think Bryce Staley has a real opportunity to catch a lot of balls if he's going to step into that role. Young player, but a real opportunity for him, especially with Matthews and Brazel. Even if they are the top two guys, and as it stands right now, like we don't really know how that's going to shake out, but one would assume he could still step into that third receiver role and be somebody who, in that hypo offense, if they can get it going, becomes somebody that gets some run. All right. Jonathan Williams here from Bulldogs on SI with us on SEC Sunday Night Live on the Chief Sports Network every Sunday at 8 p.m. Let's go ahead and throw up that strength of schedule graphic. CBS Sports, Jonathan, did this metric where they are measuring the strength of schedules of every SEC school. This is conference. So as you look at this list, it's a little bit jarring to me just to kind of look at where some of these teams fall. And I think it also helps us evaluate how we think they're going to finish and the conversation of who is overrated or underrated. Craig, I know you have some thoughts if you want to kick us off, but who is the team that you highlight here that you think maybe you're most shocked that they landed. They're too high. They're too low. I mean, you can read the descriptions if you go look at Brandon Marcello put this out, so you can kind of read and see. I trust the way that they evaluated them. I'm not disputing it necessarily, but there are some things that are shocking. Go ahead. Who jumps off to you?
My biggest one is number 11, Auburn. I'm a big Auburn fan, always waving the War Damn Eagle flag. But you look at the month of September, at Baylor, at Texas, home against Oklahoma. My goodness, we could have an interim head coach on the Plains before long with them. So to me, 11, because I think is that sneaky part of that first part, I think is most shocking.
What you need to know, though, the schedule has a lot of length and girth in this league, and so if you get past September, that's where it really gets them down the list to 11. All right, Jonathan. Anybody that jumps off to you here that's just like, I mean, this is fresh for you, right? Is this the first time you're seeing this?
No, I mean, it's not.
Or did he send it to you?
We wrote articles on it, all that good stuff. We got to pay the bills in the off season too. But just a couple of things. One, Georgia being at 14, being classified as a third easiest schedule in the SEC. I understand that they have a lot of home games. I think they only have 3 true road games this year. Part of the reason because Georgia Tech is at a neutral site this year in Atlanta. But you still got Texas on the schedule. You still have Alabama on the schedule. Ole Miss. You got Tennessee on the road. You got Florida halfway through the year. Those are 5 really solid SEC opponents. And I don't. To me, that is not third worst in the conference. For me, I think Texas has one of the easiest conference schedules. I remember last year talking about this, how Greg Sankey kind of rolled out the red carpet for them. They have the road trip to Athens this year, but if I remember correctly, a lot of their opponents are things like Arkansas is on the schedule, Vanderbilt's on the schedule. I know they have Florida on the schedule as well, Oklahoma, of course. Again, a solid bunch of opponents, but that doesn't stack up to what Georgia has, in my opinion. South Carolina has one of the hardest conference schedules, I think, out of anybody this year. If you look at the second half of South Carolina's schedule, it's like back-to-back weeks of Oklahoma, LSU, Ole Miss is in there, Alabama's in there. Yeah. It's those teams. So you're telling me that they have just the 4th easiest schedule in the there's no way. I'm sorry. I'm just not buying that at all. So maybe this is taking into account how bad Mississippi State is compared to how good the rest of the conference is. And by that margin, yeah, sure. They have the second hardest schedule in the SEC, but I think that I would kind of switch some things around a little bit. But yeah, South Carolina would be the biggest nitpick for me. They deserve to be in the top 5, in my opinion.
Yeah, I also think if I can throw one more in here, Florida's got to be up there more. Florida's got one of the most difficult schedules. They've got the China Doll at quarterback this year that may or may not be playing depending on what's happening. So
that was nice.
I think
I like that. China Doll. Write it up.
Yeah.
Trademark it. Call Joyce if she wants to put it on a hat.
Put on a hat. What about you, buddy? You got one before we get out of here?
Honestly, Vanderbilt really sticks out to me because having them at number 1, whether they're at number 1 or not, it just speaks to there's some difficulty to their schedule. And I think that Pavia, although he's a great college player, we got to look at the depth of this roster overall and consider what are our expectations here. I think the expectations for Vanderbilt can become a little overinflated given how they played last year and some of the upsets that they walked into. They're not catching anybody by surprise this year. Everybody knows it's on tape. Okay, we completely know what you're going to do. And so when we're prepared for it coming in, you kind of saw that as the year played out even a little bit. Now, they're better than what they've been in years past. But if this is where we're at with them and the schedule stacks up like that, you could be looking at another 4-8, and then they just kind of fade back into being Vanderbilt. I don't have a lot of confidence in them to be in a bowl at the end of this thing. And so, we're going to talk about them until we don't need to talk about them anymore or until they pull off something massive. Once again, my real question for them is the matchup with Auburn, because you've had this grouping of guys with Jerry Kill and Pavia and the whole crew taking down Hugh Freeze now at 2 different schools. Can they do it again at Vanderbilt?
He's got to get it all from Oxford. Now he's getting it from SEC Sunday night. Just stand the golf course.
I mean, the whole list is just really interesting to me. Can we use this? Is this breakdown something that goes into the college football playoff discussion? I understand CBS Sports did this, but when we're looking at strength of schedule for the college football playoff, can I get a list of criteria so that we can figure out exactly how we're defining strength of schedule and like where those numbers are coming from? I would love to see that.
No, you can't. It's not allowed. It's against the rules of the college football playoff. We'll tell you what we're ranking these teams off of, but to give you an actual list of criteria, there's no way. We can't allow that. It's not possible.
Hey, let me say it one more time. Give me the net.
Yep. Last word real quick before intern Lucas kicks us out. Going with our chat. Does Drink set himself up to go to Gainesville or the Plains with that easy number 16 schedule at Mizzou?
I mean, maybe he might, but I think Drink's got a pretty good job. It seems like they're getting a lot of he's getting a lot of buy-in over there. The game is an extension just recently, and they're pumping money into the facilities over there. I mean, they are giving that guy anything that he would ask for right now. So would I want to go to the Plains and take a job where the fan base wants to fire me after 2 months, it feels like? No. Would I want to go to Gainesville where it seems like nobody's had success there since Urban Meyer? Probably not. I'll just kick it over here in Missouri and continue to be 9-3 or 8-4, turn in a 10-win season, and I'll be all right. People are going to love me. I'll be the biggest celebrity in Missouri history.
Here's the only thing that I'll throw in as we close it down here, SEC Sunday night, live on the Chief Sports Network every Sunday at 8 o'clock. Why does Drink wear the visor? Who's his role model? Anybody?
Spurrier.
Steve Spurrier.
I'd say.
Is he going to replace Beamer then?
No. He's going to go to Gainesville. I'm calling your prediction to be true. If Napier's gone and they call him, and his whole persona, the way that he talks, the jabs that he takes, the visor, the offensive prowess, all those things is inspired by Steve Spurrier, then he's gator chomping, baby, and that's where he's headed. So we'll see. Thank you to Jonathan Williams for being on with us, talking dogs, talking Vols, talking the SEC overall. Another shout out to Daily Joy. Go to secpretty.com. Make sure you get those hats ordered before it gets too close to the season. I will definitely have mine on because I'm not too proud. I'm definitely confident enough. She talks about the girls. Give me the hat, baby. Give me the hat. I'm SEC pretty too. All right, listen, it's been SEC Sunday night here on the Chief Sports Network. We will be back next week as we continue to prepare for the season to give you the breakdown of what's happening in fall camp. We're going to look at the best G5 matchups across the SEC. Who's going to get scared out of their pants in a non-con game this year where they thought they were supposed to be cruising? We'll talk about it next Sunday. For Craig McMichael, I'm Rob Williams. We'll see you next time.